Everybody, we'll get this thing started. First of all, I want to welcome everybody to the meet and greet. It's nice seeing everybody here. We got a lot of good things coming up in the future. I was telling you guys about the picnic. If you guys got any ideas, please let one of the administrators know, me, Dave, Mike, or Keith. Any ideas? We're going to have, like I said, a ham fest. We're going to have the tables for rent. You guys want to get rid of any equipment, you guys looking for any equipment, it's going to be there. September 13th, from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock at the Hobart Isaac Walton. Both indoor and outdoor at the picnic. It'll be our first picnic, so I hope to see you all there. Bring your own fishing poles. You guys want to go fishing, it's going to be a catch and release there. Bring the family. Bring your outdoor chairs. We got chairs for inside, but on the outside activities, if you guys want to be outside, you can go swimming out there, but there's not going to be a lifeguard. So you guys bring grandkids or whatever, your kids, be on the lookout. Big lake, we're going to have a good time. Anyways, we got a raffle going on today. We got the big box here, 300 keys. We never know what he puts in them, so it sounds like a lot in here. It sounds pretty heavy. So if any of you guys like to get on a raffle, do so now. There'll be a few minutes. We got a DJ 427 American Radio. He's going to do a speaker for us, presentation. So with that being said, I'd like DJ come up and do a presentation for us. Thank you, DJ.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everybody. 427 CJ here. And then I just thought I'd share something here with you that I found interesting, that I kind of learned a little while ago. So I work for CSX Railroad in the communication department, and then we actually have with our positive train control radios, there's a company called MeteorCom that makes the radio, and then that company was purchased by the different Class 1 railroads. And then I found out that the reason it's called MeteorCom is because they actually used radios to bounce radio signals off of ionospheric trails from meteors scattered, from meteors. So what they would actually do is shoot a signal up in the VHF range or UHF range to be able to communicate. They use it for commercial needs. So I kind of looked into that a little bit, and then so I kind of had some facts there that about that I thought everybody might kind of find interesting. So passing our atmosphere every day, there's about 10,000 meteors that pass by, and then as they pass by the Earth, then the dust trails, which is no longer about the size of a grain of sand, pass through the atmosphere, and then it ionizes. So it kind of creates like an E layer, like skip, but it's actually bouncing off of the trails of the comets, and then that's about 2,000 kilometers up in the atmosphere. And then the frequencies that they use, sometimes you can use it below 30 megahertz, but the generally is used around between 40 and 50 megahertz for commercial use. But a lot of times hams can use that for talking to each other, either in digital modes or in sideband, between 2 meters and 440 meters. And then to be able to do this, you need a beam antenna and at least 100 watts. So a lot of times they'll use 6 meters or 2 meters as kind of the ham band. And then so there's a couple of digital modes that are actually kind of tweaked to be able to do that. let's see, I guess early morning is the best time to try to communicate through meteor scatter skill. Another interesting thing about that is, if any of you know about talking on satellites or listening to satellites, then as the satellites come closer, the frequency actually rises due to frequency as to Doppler shift. It's kind of like when you hear like race cars go by, you know, you hear the frequency go up as the car comes by, and then the frequency goes down, so it's round. So that's kind of like the same way as the meteor scatter. So it can vary between 2 kilohertz as the signal, as the meteor comes towards closer to the Earth event. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Let's see, some other things I wrote down here. There's actually an app that you can download that'll show you what the meteor activity is in case you ever wanted to get into that. But I'm sure it'd take a lot of, you'd have to have an antenna with azimuth and elevation, and then a high gain. But you can't actually have too high of a gain of an antenna. If your beam pattern is too narrow, then you can kind of miss the meteor scatter. So they talked about it, the pattern being between about 16 and 32 degrees is the best pattern for that. Let's see. And there is actually, there's a minimum range. So there's a range between about 500 kilometers and 2,000 kilometers. If it's too close, if the scatter's too close to Earth, then the angles will be too sharp, and then won't be able to bounce off of the ionosphere. So let's see if I got anything else on my notes here. Yeah, you need about 100 watts at least to get started on 6 meters or 2 meters. I think that's about all I had down there for those little facts there. So if anybody had any comments or anything to.
I do.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking a 6 meter and stuff, you know, obviously it's different. What, an antenna, or are you talking wire?
Well, for 6 meters, that's in the 50 megahertz range. So, you know, you'd have to have a beam antenna that's set up specifically. You know, probably you need at least probably about a 10 element 6 meter antenna that was probably cross polarized.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So you couldn't get 6 meter on a 3 element, would you?
Well, on a 3 element beam, you might not have enough gain. You probably wouldn't have enough gain to actually be able to pick that up. And then another thing that they mentioned too is, you know, with this stuff, you pretty much have to coordinate with somebody else. There's not going to be a lot of, you're not really just going to pick up a random person just communicating, you know, off of the bounce off of that.
Oh.
Because there's kind of a specific, you got to point it right there and then have another person on the same frequency and everything. So it's a lot more complex than just picking up a regular skip.
I got you. Okay. So, like when you're going to 40 meter and stuff, let me ask you about that. Now on 40 meter and stuff, that ain't the same way. That's
well,
pretty,
no,
right?
actually 40 meters would be too low. I mean, but you could, it's been known to go up to 500 megahertz, and then so that'd be, you know, your 70 centimeters, you know, 440 megahertz. So you can get up into that range. And then kind of going along with this, there's also what's called EME. So people will also use Earth, Moon, Earth. So they can reflect the radio signal off of the moon. So if two people are got their antennas pointed at the moon, they can go off of a reflector on the moon, or just off the surface of the moon talking to each other.
Wow,
Moon bounce.
Yeah, EME, or Earth, Moon, or Moon bounce. So,
that's amazing.
yeah, so it is kind of interesting. So, you know, you'd never think that something like this could be used for a commercial use either. That, you know, that would be reliable enough for you to be able to point a couple antennas at, you know, at a meteor shower or just some meteors going by and be able to have reliable communications like that. So.
Wow.
And then they've used, you can use sideband or, you know, high-speed Morse code. And there's lots of different modes that you can use.
Yeah, now Morse code, it's a dying breed now, ain't it?
Well, not really.
No.
There's still a lot of people that do it for fun, you know. And then there's like encoders and decoders, so you can do it digitally.
Wow.
With even a lot of radios have it built in so that they can decode Morse code.
Gotcha. Yeah, my friend, his grandpa passed away about 5 years ago, and he told me, hey, you know, I got the radios, and he said, would I be interested in looking at the stuff? And I said, yeah, go over there. He had a Kenwood 590 hooked up with a commando amplifier, but it was hooked up with the key coder, you know, for Morse code. It was only on Morse code he did. He was a Marine, and he brought it home from the Marines, you know, what he was doing, you know, whatever he did there, he brought it home, and that's the way he talked on the radio, was Morse code.
Yeah.
I never, you know, I'm fresh and getting into it, 10 years, and so I'm still learning.
It's still pretty active, and there's a lot to learn in Morse code. I even talked to somebody who they like to work CW on their motorcycle. So
Really?
they were good enough, you know. You didn't need to write anything down. You just hear it, and then so you get to do Morse code while you're driving a motorcycle.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Well, don't they have it where you could type in like paragraphs and then it'll convert it to Morse
Oh
code?
yeah, you can. And then if you're ever going to learn Morse code, the best way to learn it is don't start off trying to learn Morse code where your spacing is, and the letters are slow. You want to learn at a higher speed, like 10 or 13 words per minute, but spaced out. Your letters are spaced out. So instead of like an M, da da, you want to learn da da and not da da. Have your letters spaced, or the letters fast, but spaced for their parts so you can think about them, but not because if you start off Morse code where all your spacings and your letters are really slow, then it makes it more difficult for you to pick it up, you know, the speed faster. But because once you start picking up Morse code, then it's actually more memory. You're not thinking of dots and dashes. You hear like a series of letters together, so it's more of a pattern. It's patterns in your brain that are going on.
It's just like learning song lyrics.
Song lyrics.
Yeah, with the rhythms.
Yeah, rhythm. Yeah, you're learning. It's really rhythms in your head
Right.
that you pick up. But if you learn it too slow, then it makes it more difficult because it's like different. The letters are different if they're slow or fast. But if you just pick them up faster, start off faster, then you're just scrunching them in instead.
Well, it'd be like playing a record at a slower speed, and it's like, I don't even know what that song is. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Wow.
So
But
these are little few things that I thought were interesting.
certainly interesting topic, and we appreciate you bringing it to the table today.
All right. Thanks.